Hi, and welcome to Blue Bees. Today we are going to be making coffee with cream soap. I've got my oils over here already melted. I'm watching the temperature to see where they come down to. This recipe is going to get made cold, essentially, because of using goat's milk, which is frozen, and my coffee, which is also cold too. I'm doing it over an ice bath. Try to keep my temperatures down. I do also have my lye already measured out. I will be turning on the fan to help pull this up out of the exhaust, and I'm going to back this up a little bit under the hood too once I start adding in the lye. I also have my other additives for later on. Will be my cinnamon, my coffee grounds, which are very finely ground, of which are a hazelnut coffee, and I also have some half beans that are roasted for the top, just for kind of decoration, but we'll use those later on. But for right now, I'm going to slide this back, and I'm going to turn on the hood, and we will go from there, and I will show you how to do this very, very slowly. The milk will curdle and burn if you let the lye get too hot too quick. So. Okay, so my oils are at about 115. My lye is a little bit under 100. Unfortunately, this one goes to 100 degrees. I'll actually stick my other thermometer in here so I can get an accurate reading on this. This is also why you always use a protected area, because you never know when you're going to flip stuff. Now the lye is a tad bit curdled from the cream. That's okay. It'll happen. You just don't want like this massive like cottage cheese looking lye. That's why you got to go slow. It will always change color. If you were to use just straight goat's milk, it's going to turn a little yellowy. If it turns orange, red, kind of gets a really funky smell, just start over, get you some new stuff. And this is reading right at 90 degrees, so about 25 degrees difference. That's not bad. It's actually pretty darn close. So, oh, the oils that I'm using are palm oil, coconut oil, olive oil, and a little bit of beeswax. Then I just have my goat's milk that I had frozen, came from a local goat farmer. And the coffee, I just cold processed it, finely ground coffee, some water on it, let it sit for at least 4 hours, and then go ahead and use it. Also works very well if that's how you want to drink your coffee, for iced coffee. But I recommend it overnight for that. Anywho, we're going to take this, stick my spoon in there. So I'm going to take my spatula, my lovely Christmas spatulas in, what month are we in? August? That's okay. Always take your mixer. You want to burp it, get the bubbles out from underneath. If you can, try to pour it down the stick so that you're not creating any extra bubbles. Just add it in slowly. Remember, this is all measured, so you want to try to get out as much, if not all, that you can. A little crossways, but that's okay. The only reason I have a pan under here partially is to help keep things clean, but my burner's still a little warm, so I don't want to put my plastic pot right on a warm burner and keep everything hotter than I need to. What I usually do is I will stir it first, try to kind of incorporate it as much as I can, and then I will blend it. Okay, so you can see here, we're at a light to medium trace, which is about where I want it. I'm going to kind of hand mix it a little bit further. What we can do now, we're going to add in our cinnamon. Make sure I'm on screen here. And our ground coffee. This recipe does not have any essential oils in it. It doesn't have any fragrance oils, anything like that. It's an all-natural soap. So it's really good for people that are sensitive to fragrances, but it's also with the coffee, it's great for absorbing odors from your skin. It's wonderful for that, so it's good in the kitchen. It's also good if you got young kids and you just changed a couple diapers. If you've got kids, you know what I'm talking about. You can see it's just blending in. It's nothing really fancy. I'm going to hit it on low here for a minute. And kind of get it all blended in nicely. I'm trying to scrape some of this off the side. See it in my bucket. Coffee is also known for helping tighten skin. Oops, I forgot to burp. You'll end up whipping air bubbles into your soap if you don't. Not that it's a huge deal. I'm just trying to get it a little bit thicker because I want to be able to sit those coffee beans on top. Not that they've got to be sticking up or anything, I just don't want them sinking in. This bucket, if you're looking for one about this size, kind of Walmart in the paint department, really cheap. It's been very good. This is a 2-pound batch, so as you can see, it does not take up a whole lot of space. Gives you plenty of room for splattering and whoopses. I use my Pyrex for lye. I do also have it's a regular old pitcher sometimes that I use if I'm just using a water-based lye or something. The mold I'm using, I actually got off of Amazon. It was relatively cheap. You don't need to spend a fortune on soap supplies. A lot of times you can find stuff really cheap if you look for it. I like the silicone on this. It stands up really well on its own. And I don't think I spent more than like 15 bucks on it. I think I had free shipping too, with Prime. But so you don't have to spend a whole lot on supplies if you don't want to. It's really, up to you how much you want to spend. You can use. Oh, I'm gonna get some water. You can use not coffee tins, muffin pans if you want to pour your soaps into. So if you go to Goodwill or any secondhand store, or flea market, yard sale, find some old muffin tins or soap or loaf pans for bread or anything like that, and you can use it as a soap mold. Just test it on a batch first, make sure it'll slide out of there pretty easy, because some molds are not as easy as others. So now we're going to tap this out. Tap, 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 tap. It's about the thickness I want it to be. Let's see if I can get it on video so you can see what it looks like. See, it's not super thick, but I think it'll work for what I'm wanting it to do. It almost looked like it was trying to separate for some reason. I guess not. It's just a reflection. Tap out as much as we can. Try not to waste any. If we can avoid it. And the only thing I got the water for is to do this, so I can. Just try to kind of get my soap washed off a little bit early. It might not all come off. Let me see if I can tuck that up under the camera so you don't see it. Okay. Now, my loaf mold, I am right-handed, so this might be fun. I'm just going to pour it in. Not doing anything fancy, no fancy swirls or hujamadads or anything like that. I'm also using this pan to kind of level up my area here because my oven is at a slight angle and my pan slipped. There we go. Alright, they're back in frame now. Okay. It's also another reason to wear gloves so that if you have to wipe something, you're not touching active lye soap with bare hands. Always, my kids are in bed now. I don't have to worry about them being underfoot while I'm trying to do this. You make sure always, if you wear nothing else, wear gloves. I wear glasses, so I don't have to worry about wearing safety glasses, but if you're worried about that, wear safety glasses. Who cares? It doesn't matter what you look like as long as you're safe. Lye is very, very, very dangerous. It can blind you and it can burn skin. With that being said, if you do get some on your skin, wash it off immediately. Keep some vinegar around. Vinegar will neutralize the pH of the lye. But I suggest just run over to your sink, get some water on it. That's what I typically do. Okay, we're going to kind of tap this out into the mold so it goes into all the corners nicely. Wipe down. Hair in my mouth. Jiggle out a little bit. This is not the best setup, but we'll do better next time I film. This is our first soap making video here, so we shall see how this comes out video-wise. I know the soap will be good. And all I'm going to do is, I was going to be precise with these, but I think I'm just going to kind of sprinkle them on top. Try to get a few into where I think the slices are going to be, and just kind of spread them around a little bit. Decorated some. And remember, because I do have lye on my hand, do not toss this coffee back into your stash if you have extra. You don't know what's on your fingers, what's going to end up in your next pot of coffee if you do. Some things we just don't think about. And I know I haven't thought about stupid stuff before, so we've all done it. You just get so excited about your soap, how to see it comes out, and next thing you know, you've poisoned the family. No, not really, but you just don't want to make sure you don't do stupid stuff, especially working with lye. And there is my 4-year-old who does not want to go to sleep, calling to me from his bed. I'm probably going a little overboard, but I don't care. Looks good. That should do it. So kind of went over here, give it a couple firm taps. Beans to settle in. Alright. And there we go. We have our coffee with cream soap. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit on it. It won't let me zoom while I'm filming. Perfect. I'll just do this. Coffee with cream soap. And the lighting in here isn't any good there. That will be unmolded tomorrow. And we will make sure that we film it so that you can see what it looks like inside once I cut it. Thank you for watching. And we're back tonight. As you can see, our soap is all set up. It does have a little bit of soda ash on top. That's okay. I'll show you how to remove that. Before I unmold this, I just want to show you, like I was talking when I was making this about finding cheap equipment. This is a soap cutter. It also has the planer on the bottom for redoing your sides and whatnot like that if you got rough edges or whatnot. But I found this at Goodwill for $2. Nobody knew what it was, so it's been perfect. It's a soap cutter. It's got your different measurements on the side. It also, it's funny, it's written in Japanese. I'm not sure what it says because my Japanese is really rusty, but it also has your numbers here. I usually keep it at about 1 inch for my soaps, and it seems to get me about a 4-ounce weight. It also does have a level too to make sure that your cuts are going straight too. It's a nice little piece of equipment, and normally, I mean, you'd find those no less than usually about $15 online, so it was really nice to find one for about $2 in the store. But anywho, let's go ahead and slip this bad boy out of the mold. That's how simple it is to come out. And with these silicone molds, what you have to do is peel this back all along. And this one, we are going to actually cut it upside down because of the coffee beans. I want to make sure that it doesn't push the coffee beans into it, but more or less cuts the coffee beans. Sometimes getting this vacuum seal to let go is a little fun, but that's okay. We can get it one way or the other. And don't worry if you mess up a corner like I did right there. We're going to cut off the edge anyways. And I've yet to have anybody worry about how perfect their corners are when they buy a bar of soap. So you can see how nice and shiny that is down there. I hope you can see it really well. And that's how you can tell that there is some soda ash on the very top. And all we're going to end up doing, I really messed up that corner, but oh well, doesn't matter. It's not that big of a deal. Because again, I am right-handed. I'm going to slip this in. I'm going to grab a good sharp knife. It doesn't matter. It's soap. You're going to clean it anyways. So, in your first cut, always want to make sure that you just cut off the end. And I did say upside down, didn't I? So, got that there. I'm a little short, so that's going to be your inside. See, it is a little dark around the edge. That's okay. Your coloring is going to usually equal out after it goes through the curing process. Now, it's going to take about 4 weeks. Some soaps are a little bit longer. It just depends. But a good 4 weeks is usually what you want to go by when before you give, sell, or use any homemade soaps. There it is. Let me see if I can get a good shot of it. I don't know if I can get it to focus this close, but you can see the coffee in it. It looks really nice. Oh, we did lose a couple of the pieces of coffee on the top, but that's okay. And make sure they're not in the way for the next cut. Make sure it's flush. Could have pushed the coffee beans in a little bit, and it would have helped with them staying on and not falling off like they are, but that's alright. And because I am hand cutting, you're going to get a little bit of wonkiness. You can see it's a little thicker at the bottom than it is at the top, but if I had a cutter, these would be a whole lot more symmetrical. You wouldn't have to worry about it doing this thick and thin. That's also why I'm trying to hold it kind of in place a little bit. I didn't line up very well with my slots on that one, but that's okay. Usually 1 or 2 bars stays with me anyway, so I usually take the ones that aren't as pretty. Any of these that maybe a lot of coffee falls off of, or they're really shaped kind of fun, I'll keep for myself. Looks like we get one more out of this. Pretty good. Barely a skim. It'll probably stay with me and seeing it so funky, but that's okay. That gives us 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 slices. That's pretty good. And just for ha-has, let's see what we get on the scale. Can you see that? Sort of. 4.5. 4.2. Randomly grab a couple of them. 4.6. So that's between 4 4.5. That's my heavy one there. That was the end piece. So 4.6. Yep, right about 4.5 ounces. So it's a really good, cut right there. 1 inch. Could be a little bit lighter to try to keep it right at 4 ounces, but when you sell them, people get a little bit extra for free. They're happy. So now onto the soda ash. Usually you can do this underneath the sink with some just cold running water. Do not use hot, but I'm going to just do it here in a thing so I can show you. It's going to knock all my coffee beans off. Oh no. But you just kind of go and literally just wash it off. And that's all you really need to do. And I don't even know if I'm really going to worry about it because it's so little. I think I'm just going to leave it so I don't knock off all the rest of the coffee beans on these. This is my first time using coffee beans on the top, so I was kind of wondering how it would come out. But other than that, I think they look great. So, anyways, that's what we get there. That is coffee with cream, cold processed soap made with goat's milk, and fresh cold brewed coffee. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, please rate, share, and subscribe. Thank you.